And when Dr. Jeannie and I talked about speakers for our Lincoln Bicentennial celebration, I said, I want Joshua Wolf Shank here because I think his book has made an outstanding contribution to our body of knowledge about Lincoln's life. So I have the enormous pleasure this afternoon of introducing the acclaimed author of Lincoln's Melancholy, Joshua Wolf Shank. Published by Houghton Mifflin, the book was touted as among the best of 2005 by the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Atlantic Journal-Constitution, as well as the Abraham Lincoln Institute. Mr. Shank's work has also been honored by the National Mental Health Association and the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill in New York City. The first book of its kind, Lincoln's Melancholy, describes in fascinating and masterful detail President Lincoln's lifelong battle with major depression and suicidality. 7 years in the making, Mr. Shank's brilliant biography of Lincoln provides a window into the president's suffering and his ability to rise above the pain and despair to become one of history's greatest political leaders. As such, Lincoln's Melancholy is an inspiration to all people experiencing debilitating brain diseases. The volume offers a unique blend of history, politics, sociology, and psychology to illuminate Lincoln's personal and political life with eminent readability, careful crafting, and high-powered historicity. Please join me in welcoming Joshua Wolf Shank.
Thank you, Art, and then there's this crucial passage. I am now the most miserable man living. If what I feel were equally distributed to the whole human family, there would not be one cheerful face on the earth. Whether I shall ever be better, I cannot tell. I awfully forebode I shall not. To remain as I am is impossible. I must die or be better, it appears to me. So, the Gettysburg Address, probably the most famous of Lincoln's writings, is famous because it compressed an idea, a vision, an understanding of the whole American experiment into a very short space. And I think that this letter, this passage of this letter, so much more that could be said about that, but I've already gone on quite a long time and I want to take your questions. I'd like to just read you one more letter that Lincoln wrote. This is in the middle of the Civil War, and the same way that this first document I read you kind of gets right to the heart of the darkness and the narcissism and the excruciating pain of his mental life. This is a letter that articulates the wisdom of his mature life, the place that he came to after so much struggling. And this is a letter that was written in the midst of continued struggling. Lincoln never got happy. He was never better. He just continued to struggle and to do good work. So this letter was written to a young woman who was very depressed. Her father had died, and she seemed to be really, as Lincoln had it as a young man, she was really worrying her family, and they thought that she was going insane. The descriptions of her really sound a lot like some kind of psychotic break. She wouldn't eat, she wouldn't sleep, she wouldn't see people, and she had a distant connection to Lincoln. She lived in Bloomington, and Lincoln had people there, and word got to him that this was happening, and he was asked, would he write her a letter? And he wrote this letter. Dear Fanny, it is with deep grief that I learn of the death of your kind and brave father, and especially that it is affecting your young heart beyond what is common in such cases. In this sad world of ours, sorrow comes to all, and to the young, it comes with bitterest agony because it takes them unawares. The older have learned to ever expect it. You cannot now realize that you will ever feel better. Is not this so? And yet it is a mistake. You are sure to be happy again. To know this, which is certainly true, will make you some less miserable now. I have had experience enough to know what I say, and you need only to believe it to feel better at once. The memory of your dear father, instead of an agony, will yet be a sad, sweet feeling in your heart of a purer and holier sort than you have known before. And he ends, shoot, I must do that. He ends, please present my kind regards to your afflicted mother. So this letter, I think, in microcosm, captures the arc of Lincoln's story. He encounters a young woman who is suffering terribly, and where does he begin? He begins by acknowledging that